44 years, eh, mate? Look at that. 3 of them. You know, it's very difficult to find.
The Turley brothers. They're looking for their mother and 2 brothers.
Section 56, lot number 136.
They're buried in the cemetery in Pointe-aux-Trembles. It's the first time Michael, Robert, and Daniel have visited.
And a tragedy happened, and I lost my mother, and I haven't been near to my mother for 44 years, but she's always been in my heart. Should we walk over that way?
They search not only for a grave, but their childhoods. Mackayville, now known as Saint-Hubert. The Turley family lived here for 6 years, on this street at this number. They were a working-class family whose lives changed on December 3rd, 1957.
My dad was on a late shift at the time in the steelworks, and I can actually still remember for this day the actual meal that we had, our last meal, which was spaghetti bolognese, and for afters was Boston cream pie.
Robert was 8 years old. He too recalls that winter night.
Yeah, I just remember the house being on fire and the screams of people shouting my mother's name, and that was bad enough, but then there seemed to be a pause, and then like another shock come to you where they started shouting the names of my 2 brothers, and sort of you knew that your life was going to be totally changed.
Victoria Turley died trying to save her youngest children, Kevin and Russell. Robert, Michael, and Daniel managed to escape. Their father rescued them. They never went to the funeral, and their father never talked about it.
We've heard stories of the day of the funeral, which we never attended, that he actually wanted to open the coffin to see his sons and wife again, but he was dragged away, and he was a broken man, and he couldn't bring himself to really look after us no more.
3 months later, Mr. Turley sent his sons overseas, dividing them among British relatives.
As young children, we were like the wild Canadian boys in England. We wandered the streets.
We used to play in bombed houses, we had no shoes, and I mean, I know it sounds like, but we were in, you know, in a sorry state, to be honest, and we've all come out of that in the end.
And in the end, they're happy, content with their lives in England. But still, for each one, something is missing.
There's always been this burning, you know, in your heart sort of thing that, you know, I mean, you never knew where your mother's resting place was and brother's resting place, and there's always been a desire to come back. But obviously over the years, even if your financial situations might have been okay, there was Robert living somewhere else, I was living, you all had families.
Michael's daughter Vicky finally made it happen. With her savings, she bought 3 plane tickets to Canada.
It'll be like a relief to say goodbye to the mum and the brothers, a chance that they've never had.
They arrive in Montreal with very little. Few old photographs, the name of a cemetery, some gifts for the grave.
See exactly where it is.
127 and 126.
Thanks very much, mate. So that's it there, isn't it? Yeah. Hey, just want to give that a kiss. It's down there, Dan.
Just a few little things here.
Well, Mum,
People sent from England.
I hope we can feel our presence, Mum.
Yeah.
Kevin and Russell, you'll live on forever.
After all these years coming back here and finding it, you know what I mean, and the emotion now, like your stomach is churning a little bit.
They hold vigil and move on to the old neighborhood.
There's the Gold Street, look. Can't be too far away, yeah. Okay,
They're looking for something they remember and someone who might remember them.
Look at that, that's the house still there, look. Exactly, virtually the same. Oh, God, there's in there.
There's no one in. I don't
There's no one in, probably. Yeah. No, maybe not, no.
We were never meant to go back.
No, no, no. No, I don't think so, no. I don't think we should be back in there, no. Sure.
But it's this house they remember the most.
I mean, obviously, the biggest thing that stands out in your mind is that house there, because obviously all the photographs, obviously, we always took that with it.
The Nelson family lived here. They still do. Ronald Nelson watched the house burn to the ground. he was 10 years old.
And my father went there to
Help,
try,
yeah, and help,
try
yeah.
to help,
Yeah.
and the body was brought here.
The bodies were brought, yeah.
Found out a little bit more, didn't we?
Yeah, yeah. It's unbelievable.
Unbelievable, too, for Claude Nelson, Ronald's brother.
But we're coming here with the material.
He never forgot. He kept the newspaper clippings, the articles, the pictures, small treasures the Turleys never knew existed.
I was 17 at that time, so I remember there was a lot of noise and movement in the house because it was just across the street. So I saw that the house was really burning and very, very fast. So it turned out to be a very sad moment. And that little stroller that we see, where in fact we said Kevin unfortunately died, he was sleeping in it, was put on our land, you know, our piece of on the left side of the house. And this to me stayed as a vivid picture that I will always remember. You move a little bit this way.
On an April afternoon, they take new pictures to replace the old. And two sets of brothers come to terms with a tragedy that's haunted them for years.
Seeing you today in my house, well, to me, it's a miracle.
I feel that basically I've come full circle. My life started in Montreal, and you know, tragedy struck, and I went halfway around the world. And today I'm back in Montreal, and I've actually been able to, you know, feel my emotions. It's been very special for the three of us.
Michael, Robert, and Daniel Turley found what they're looking for in Canada. They all have loving children, wives, and girlfriends back in England. It's time to move on. Time to go home. Michel Godbout, CBC News, Montreal.